Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement, but not really My Mom's Basement, kind of My Mom's Basement. It's really an emergency from the top rope with myself and Jared Carrabis because CM Punk is back. I can't believe we're talking about this again. CM Punk is back in the WWE after nearly a decade spent away. Returned at Survivor Series last night. Jared, how are we?
I'm still on cloud nine. I still can't believe it. Like, I don't know about you, but I mean, obviously you were watching it live. I was watching it live. I have spent this entire day on TikTok watching people react to it over and over and over and over and over again. I have seen videos of people that were there. I'm watching all the streamers. I'm watching fans at home that were watching it live that were recording themselves. Like, if you watched CM Punk return last night and record yourself, I've seen it at this point.
Dude, I wish I had my reaction because during the main event, they're chanting CM Punk and they're chanting CM Punk. And I turned to my girlfriend and I'm like, these fucking idiots in the crowd. I'm like scoffing at them. I'm like, they're ruining the main event by chanting for a guy who's definitely not coming out. And she's like, there's no chance he's coming out. I'm like, there's no chance he's coming out. I know there was all the speculation around it. Yeah. I thought there was not a shred of doubt in my mind that he was not coming out. I was like, I would be more stunned than anything ever if he came out. Get to the end of the match, his music hits, and my girlfriend's just like, oh, there you go. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I can't believe it. She's like, I guess he is coming out. You know, she doesn't understand the significance, obviously, but it cracked me up, the dichotomy of that. Did you think there was any chance he was coming out last night?
No, dude. Like, all right, so I'll walk you through like the timeline of emotions. When I thought / knew he's not coming back is when he posted the Hell in a Cell devil thing on his Instagram. I was like, now he's just fucking with us. Like,
yeah,
like you blew it. Like before I was like, there's a 15 to 20% chance that, you know, because every day there would be reports that they're not even talking. Oh, they might be talking. Oh, he's in meetings. Oh, those meetings never took place. Like, it was going back and forth every single day. But when he posted that on his story, I was like, you fucking troll. Like, I know you love to troll and you love to like lean into it, but you leaned into it too heavy to where, like, if you are coming back, like, you blew it. Like, either way, I was like, that's when I was like, it's not happening. And then the day of, like, I had people over, and then when they do the angle of like, oh, we don't know if Randy's here. And then we're all sitting there being like, why would you do that? Like, where is this going?
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, if he's there, like, you're setting up Randy for failure.
You know what I thought, though?
There.
I understood it when I thought about this. You don't want Randy Orton to come back, his music hits, and then he gets in a cage for a few minutes. You know, you want like a return pop, I guess. They wanted like almost a surprise pop, which they kind of got when they sent Rhea out. But when you did that, I was like, oh, man, we've been hearing those same reports you're talking about have said, like, WWE wants to make it clear that CM Punk is not coming back. They don't want fans to get their hopes up. So that's why they, like, pre-announced Randy Orton as the partner. And that made sense.
Thinking that you're going to see Punk, you're going to see Randy, and you're going to like it.
So when they did the surprise thing, I was like, man, I don't like that the crowd's chanting for CM Punk because he's definitely not coming back, and you should just pay attention to the matches in the ring. But I kind of get it because you're doing the surprise angle. And then the way they did it, he just and Triple H loves to do this when he puts the fucking little ticker at the bottom when it looks like, oh, the show's about to be over. And I swear it lingered for just a bit too long where I was like, maybe Triple H is going to pull something at the end of this pay-per-view. I still didn't think it was Punk. And then when the static and Cult of Personality hits, the wide shot they had on where you see the Jumbotron says CM Punk right away too, it was just like, what the fuck? It was,
but even then, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe
I didn't until he walked out. You can't until he walks out. I was like, what? Grayson Waller's going to walk out and I'm going to fucking punch a hole through my laptop right now. But no, I texted Kevin this morning, KFC. I said, I think this might have been the most stunned I've ever been, barring the streak ending. I put the streak ending #1, but I think this is #2 in my entire lifetime of watching wrestling.
It's two different shock factors, though. Like, when I was watching the streak ending, it's like 1, 2, 3, and then you're just like, you're almost so stunned that you laugh. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, but this
thought it went wrong. Thought they're going to restart the match or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Because they didn't play Lesnar's music.
Yeah. They let it simmer for a sec.
Yeah, so I was like, did they just fuck up? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Like, they're gonna restart the match. Like, there's something coming. With this, his music hit, Punk's music hit, and I'm just like, I didn't believe my eyes. Like, I thought
Yeah.
because I saw the ticker. Like, everyone, like, we pointed out the ticker. Like, there's the ticker. It's over.
Yeah.
And then when Punk's music hit, I thought that it was like, oh, like we're like, here's like a flashback to CM Punk because we're coming out with this new CM Punk documentary. Like, I didn't even think it was the same fucking show. And then we're freaking out. Like, everyone in my house is two of my friends, they have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man.
And so they left. They left at like 9:30. And I sarcastically, as he was leaving, he was like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta be up. And I was like, oh, so you're gonna miss CM Punk later? And he's like, all right, yeah. So, but like the people that were still there, freaking the fuck out. My girlfriend was sitting on my lap, sleeping on my chest like a baby. And she fell asleep at the beginning of War Games. So like,
you spun around, hit her with an RKO when Punk came out.
Everyone is still talking. So like, I was like, we can communicate. She's not gonna wake up. Like, she's a rock. And then Punk came out, and I was like, oh my God. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was insane. Like, I still don't think that I've come down from it. Like, it's one of those things that I probably rewatched that clip. First of all, like, immediately when people left, I went to bed and I just put on the WWE YouTube channel, and they had the clip of it, like when it first dropped, and I just would rewind and like, I watched it 500 times last night, and then I watched it a million times today. Like, I can't get enough of the first like minute 30 of that clip.
The pop is so good. It's so, because it was such a surprise. It's crazy that they kept it under wraps as well as they did because of all the speculation. Like, for months, there's been, like you said, the articles and this or that, and is he going? Is he not going? They're not interested. And from all of the normally reputable, credible sources, I don't think they were wrong at any point. They said the deal came together like maybe yesterday. I've seen some people saying maybe they had their first conversation even 10 days ago, and he signed on the dotted line yesterday. It is crazy that they were able to keep that in the room. Apparently, it was just like Punk, Triple H, and Nick Khan. I'm sure at some point, some more people knew. They said that reportedly the competitors in the War Games match that main evented the show were told before.
Right before they went out.
Yes, which has to be like crazy in your mind where you're like, we're about to destroy our bodies and barely anyone is going to be talking about it tomorrow. It's the kind of thing where at the end of that show, it's like, oh, well, fuck. That's going to be the talking point. Yeah. But now Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre also are weaved into this story because Drew McIntyre stormed out after the match, like before Punk's return even happened, just stormed out of the ring, which made sense, like storyline wise.
Yeah, he's a heel and they lost.
Judgment Day. Yeah. And he doesn't even like these people he just teamed up with. So I didn't make a big deal out of that. But some people are saying went right to the locker room, stormed out and left. I've seen Meltzer saying he doesn't think that's a works. I know McIntyre's contract is up soon. He hasn't re-signed. Maybe he just got told about Punk and was like, fuck, the salary cap just fucking, we just lost some room in that, I'm sure. I don't know if that's true or not. Seth Rollins had much more of a public freak out, I would say. When the music hit, he threw the belt against the cage. He starts yelling at the ref. Did you know? He goes outside. He starts flipping Punk off and going, fuck you, fuck you. And it's so over the top that my gut went to like, this has to be a work, right? I mean, we know Seth doesn't like Punk in real life, but we got a classic work or shoot. This is why Punk being back is the best, by the way, because we have moments like this where we're actually debating, is this a work or a shoot? What do you think?
When I first saw the clip, I was like, this is a shoot, brother. Like, this is real because, and before we came on here, it sucks because all the clips are gone, but we interviewed Seth Rollins in what, 2019? I want to say 2019 or 2020. Even? We were in HQ 3.
Okay, yeah. It was probably 2019.
Yeah, so it's somewhere around that time. And I forget what the setup was to the question. Because I know that the clip that goes viral now is when he's like, yeah, go away, Phil. Bye-bye. Like that one. That was
cancer,
in
like,
yeah, like that was
recently, pretty recently.
That was after he came back from, I think, AEW. I think he made his AEW return by that point.
I think that was Nick Hausman asking him, like, do you think Punk could come to WWE during the first suspension?
Okay, yeah. So
And he
that
was like,
is
"Stay
post
away." Yeah, you're a
21. Yeah.
he did like almost a Trump voice. "Stay away. You're a
Yeah,
cancer."
bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I forget what the setup was to the question, but I remember saying something along the lines of like, we don't have to say his name, but something, something, something. And I was referring to Punk, and Seth Rollins's response was, no, you can say his name. Fuck him. Like, fuck CM Punk, blah, blah, blah. But he's just like going off on it. Like, he's the one that said
Yeah.
his name, not me, because he knew what I was talking about. I was very taken aback by that because, as you know, with WWE interviews, like they're not allowed to swear. We can't swear when we ask them
There's
questions.
usually like a person in the
A
room or
PR
on
on the
Zoom, like,
line. Yeah. Yeah. There's someone sitting in on it. And he went off on CM Punk. And this was before he came back. So, I don't think that he's working it 4 years out. I think he genuinely dislikes him. So when I saw that clip, my first reaction was like, this is real, but obviously they want you to think it's real because they didn't show it on camera, but they know,
Yeah.
like it's a PLE. They
Oh, of
know that
course.
there's plenty of WWE influencers that are sitting right there. Like Brock Lesnar guy was right there. Like there was a bunch
Yeah.
of dudes that have TikTok accounts with a bunch of, like, they knew it was going to get captured and
And that's
posted.
the moment everyone's
That's the
filming.
beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
Like
has their camera out the moment Cult of Personality hits.
yeah. Yeah. And I think, I don't, it's like, am I giving them too much credit for knowing that it would be filmed and posted and go viral? So it's like, we still got it out there. Like people, like we set up the angle. We trusted that the audience would film this and post it so that it's out there. But I mean, that is kind of just, I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking where, because they didn't record it. Like how,
I feel like
he's dropping F-bombs.
he's dropping F-bombs, flipping the bird. I feel like it better be a work. That's how, like, if it's not a work, it's crazy behavior from Seth Rollins. But I think Seth Rollins is a fucking pro's pro. He's a father at this point. He was told before the War Games match, so he knew it was happening. Like, what was he thinking the whole War Games match? I can't wait to fucking flip that guy off and tell him I don't like him. Like, come on, Seth Rollins is what, 35, 36 years old at this point?
Well, there was
I
a
don't think he
report.
reacts like that.
Didn't Meltzer or someone else had a report that he went looking for Punk backstage after, and people were like, it was awkward that he was acting that way?
Yeah, I think it was Sean Ross Sapp. I wrote this down, reported that in gorilla position, Seth had to be ushered away by Triple H and Michael Cole. That was also a funny part of the clip. Michael Cole is the one holding him back.
Yeah, with one
he said
arm.
he was not happy about Punk's appearance. Punk was said to have looked confused by it, and at least to people in the area, it was said to be an awkward scene. Let me ask you this. Maybe, again, I'm giving him too much credit. Is there any chance Triple H pulled Drew and Seth aside before the pay-per-view and said, hey, why don't you just work your way out? Like, throughout the arena, after the match, just keep kayfabe for just a little bit longer. Drew, you get to leave right away. Just grab your gear, get out of there, and make people think you're pissed. Seth, go after Punk and Gorilla. Punk will know. Maybe you get that AEW, oh my God, is there going to be brawls? You get everyone talking about it. We're talking about it like this, work or shoot. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I feel like that would be a smart move. Why not tell Drew, hey, don't shower as soon as you get to the back, shower when you get to the hotel. And now you got people talking about, you got the dirt sheets talking about your contract is up. Is he going to sign? Is he going to re-sign? Like it's Punk 2011 all over again. You could run that angle with Drew and him pissed that Punk came in. Like there's options.
And the other thing too, did you watch the press conference after?
I didn't watch it, but I watched clips. I watched the clip of Triple H talking about Punk, and I watched the clip of Cody going up and reading the stats again, being like, sorry, it's the EVP in me.
Yeah. So one of the things that Triple H said that stood out to me was, he's like, we did this War Games match, and he compared it to like an action movie. And it's like, well, an action movie that just has a bunch of explosions and no story, it's like, that's garbage. So you can have a great action movie that tells a story. Is like, I think that there were a lot of storylines in this War Games match, and we answered some questions and then we posed some more questions. So that's how his brain works is, like obviously you have the RKO from the top of the cage spot. Like there's some cool spots in that match, and they still played into like the Randy Orton callback to like Jey Uso. Like, the bloodline is the one that like put me out. So like there is that, like you're telling little stories in between and everything. And I mean, I think back to Survivor Series, when you had the Montreal Screwjob, who is riding shotgun to all that? Triple H was right there. Like he knows, like he saw the whole thing unfold and how that built Vince McMahon as a star. And like it so I think his brain does work that way, where Vince's may or may not work that way, where it's like, all right, what happens on camera is, it is what it is. Because do you remember? I forget who was involved, but they tried something where there was like a fight in the parking lot. This was like a year, like within the last couple of years, there was like a fight in the parking lot before Raw or SmackDown, but it was filmed on a cell phone and they tried to pass it off like it was like fan footage or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Triple H is starting to think that way, where it's like, everyone has a camera and we have all these people that are reporting on wrestling now. Like, let's use that to our advantage, because it's not how he came up. Like, it's not like that's not how it went. I mean, he knows now because of the Click incident. There was one fucking guy with a camera. Like, that was it. And like now he's
like that fucking guy.
Yeah. Like, so like, but now everyone has a camera, and I think he's smart enough to think that way and have it be more of a reality based product, because that's what gets me. Like, when I tweeted out the CM Punk thing, how many people were like, I haven't watched wrestling since he left and now like I'm back? Like, they don't even know about like the AEW drama. It's like AEW is like an island that doesn't exist to fans that are only loyal to WWE or maybe stopped watching years ago.
It's crazy too, the difference between this and his AEW return. They're both so awesome, but this one has that shocking factor where, like, the AEW return, we pretty much knew he was coming back. It was like wrestling's worst kept secret. This was the best kept secret. When it comes to the AEW run in general, how did you feel about it? I mean, obviously it's disappointing in terms of like injuries, suspensions, shit like that. But overall, I felt like he delivered some great promos, some great matches. MJF, my favorite feud and match he had was the one with Eddie Kingston, which isn't even that long. I think it's like a 12-minute match. But were you a fan of the AEW run?
Some of it. I mean, like the Eddie Kingston promos were great. But I think where I didn't love it was when it became real and I felt like he was getting disrespected. And I know that there are a lot of people out there like, oh, well, CM Punk's a piece of shit and like he deserved it and he got treated how he deserved to be treated. But I think, to me, obviously being a big Punk mark, I didn't like the aspect of how like he was a veteran in a room full of young guys that I genuinely believe he wanted to help, that didn't want his help, that were like, all right, see you later, old man. Like, you're part of the past and we're trying to leapfrog you. Whereas like they didn't see through what he was actually trying to do. Like, yeah, I'm here. Like, I'm trying to think, like, it's not the perfect comparison, but like, if like back in like 2019, 2018, when, if I'm like screaming at someone in the Barstool office, it's like, I'm trying to draw attention so that like we both get elevated here. But if your feelings actually get hurt, well, now I look like an asshole and you hate me in real life. And now no one benefits from this. But if you get that it's a work, then like we can both draw attention to ourselves and put some eyeballs on us. And I feel like that's what happened with him there, was he went there to help people and feelings got hurt and real things were said. And it was just
maybe on both sides.
Yeah, maybe on both sides, like feelings were hurt for sure. But I don't want to call it a gigantic waste of time, but it's almost like, oh, we ruined the good surprise on you. Like when he came back last night, there was part of me that was like, fuck, I wish he never went to AEW. Like, we saw some cool matches. And, maybe there were some quote unquote dream matches that happened. Like, I loved it. Like, his last match was against Joe. Like, it was cool to see that, especially in front of like a crowd that size. Great match. But in terms of like, being dormant for a decade, it would have been way cooler. Not that it wasn't cool. It's fucking awesome. But like, it would have been way cooler if like, he was just UFC doing horror movies and then bam, I'm back in WWE after all this time.
And it is almost a decade. It was, someone pointed out that it's like 9 years to the day, or not to the day, but to the week since the podcast came out. It was like the Thanksgiving podcast.
Yep.
Almost a decade later, the biggest difference is Vince is pretty much not involved at this point. We know he's still on the TKO board and whatnot, but the reports are that Ari Emanuel, I think, who runs WME and TKO, is like, if I hire you to do a job, I want you doing that job. And he feels that way about Triple H being the creative guy in WWE. So he's like, Vince, why don't you take a little step out? I don't think Ari's a big Vince guy. So I think Triple H is just cementing his legacy as basically the olive branch guy. Bruno Sammartino, getting him into the Hall of Fame. Ultimate Warrior, getting him into the Hall of Fame. And now CM Punk, getting him back. It's insane that Triple H is the one to mend all of the bridges that Vince burnt down.
Sting,
another one. That's like, he was the key to getting Sting back. Triple H, give this guy his respect. And the picture he tweeted, you talked about your eyes deceiving you. The picture he tweeted where he's like, hell is frozen over. It's a cold day or whatever. I was staring at that. My dog, shout out my dog Face. She threw up in the middle of the night last night. Woke me up, threw up at 4 a.m. I just couldn't stop scrolling. When I cleaned up to throw up, I was like, oh my God. And I just kept looking at that picture and I was like, I'm not dreaming, right? This is real. This ain't AI. This isn't Photoshop. That happened, right? Like, I could not fathom that it happened. And it's like impossible to explain that to people who don't get it, who weren't there through it all. I saw this guy, Garrett Kidney, had a great thread about how, like, there's a direct correlation in the pipe bomb and AEW existing. Like, Punk created a certain type of wrestling fan, or at least created it within WWE mainstream audiences, pointed things out that people hadn't picked up on if they weren't on forums and hardcore wrestling fans. That became a certain style of wrestling, a certain generation of wrestlers, and eventually, I think, led to the creation of AEW. He eventually goes there. He has a run. It doesn't go well. And now he's back in WWE. It is so mind-blowing. You can't explain it to people that don't get it.
Yeah, and I think you have to be a real diehard wrestling fan to have hope, I think. Because if you were like a wrestling fan that kind of came into it in like 2011, 2012, it's like, all right, so I started watching wrestling in the early 2010s and CM Punk is red hot. He's your favorite. And then he goes away. And like, you're probably thinking, oh, like there's no chance that he'll come back. But in pro wrestling, like, I will never say never, ever. Like, he's the one, like when Bret, by the way, when Bret Hart came back and had that moment in the ring with Shawn, which I didn't know until very recently, that like, that was like a real moment that they saw each other. Like, they hadn't spoken since the screw job and they saw each other in catering. And I think Shawn went up to Bret and started talking to him. And Bret was like, save it for the ring. So like what we saw was their first real interaction since that shit went down. So get it, like the names that we mentioned, those returns, getting the Bret and Shawn moment, and now Punk coming back, and Hogan fucking sued Vince McMahon. He's been in and out of Hall of Fame 9 times. Like, there's just, like, in pro wrestling, doesn't matter how bad it gets, how ugly it gets. The fact that Punk is back is the one where I thought he could be the exception to the rule. But I mean, fuck. I think, but when people say, "Oh, it's because,"
I think he thought he was going to be the exception to the rule too.
I think he wanted to be, but then you get older. Like, when you're in your 30s and you think you're going to live forever, now he's fucking in his mid 40s. He's got the gray hairs. Like, I'm
talking even a couple years ago though. Like in AEW, he's talking like, fuck that. He said to MJF, the clip is going viral again today. Like,
grass is greener.
Grass is greener on the other side. You want to main event night 4 of a buy one get one free extravaganza, and it's like, now it looks like he might main event night 1 because that seems like the obvious thing to do.
Yeah,
there are obviously those clips that are going to go viral. There's the clip where he said, like, I left pro wrestling and today I'm returning to pro wrestling, when he came back to AEW.
Yeah,
those clips are out there. He also posted on his Instagram the enemy of my enemy is my friend or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's his mindset at this point. I think
I'm only coming back because fuck AEW.
Exactly. I think a year ago he was like, fuck WWE, blood money, Saudi Arabia. He's saying suck that blood money dick to them. Is he gonna go wrestle in Saudi Arabia after? I don't know. Those clips are obviously going to be out there. I assume he'll address them, but I think he's in like all right, you didn't want me, I'm gonna fucking bury you mode.
Yeah, and that's a great place to be. I think he's that's what I was gonna ask you. If AEW never exists, we probably don't see Punk back in WWE again. Like, I think his experience had to go so poorly in AEW to where he was like, I'm not like, my passion for the business has reignited, but not here. Like, now I feel
Yeah.
like this sucks, but I still have it left in me and I still want to do this, but not here. Can I go back there and like make amends? Like, he had to what? Kiss and make up with the Miz. I'm sure
A lot of
that,
people backstage, I think.
yeah, like there were
And he's got friends
people.
backstage. It's not like nobody likes him. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing about Punk is he's very polarizing in that there's people that hate him, but there's also people that love him. And he had people that loved him in AEW. He had his own like squad of people in AEW that were
Yeah.
super cool. And we very much like Punk. He's always been super cool to us. So it's always like when those
Probably because we
news
never talked to
stories
him
go
about
out,
wrestling.
maybe we talked to him
We
about
just
like horror movies mostly. Yeah.
horror movies and baseball. I've never talked to him about wrestling ever.
Yeah. And that might be why we've had such great interaction. I don't know, but that's why it's awkward always when like the Punk brawl out stories go out or brawl in. You know, it's like, I don't want to fucking talk about this. I don't want to
No.
blog about this. I like Punk. I want him to like me. Like,
Yeah.
but you know, I got friends that don't like him. I got friends that have met him and don't like him that I think will work with him in WWE, and
Sure.
it'll be amazing. Like, I think everyone is going to be in that mode of like, let's make some money. And I think this is even a good spot for AEW to be in. Like, let's see what Tony Khan and AEW's got with their backs against the wall. Like, at this point, I think it's fair to say the momentum is swung widely in WWE's favor, especially Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, like two of the guys that were like AEW's true, like, not
Put
homegrown,
asses in the
obviously,
seats,
but
guys.
like Cody was AEW for that first year or two. And then Punk was like, oh my God, this is the next generation of AEW, this next phase. And they made him the guy twice in injuries and obviously like faulted that. But I think this is like you said, like turn a new leaf. Punk wants to bury them. And let's see what happens. I'm ready to get my heart broken a third time, I said.
I'm not. I don't think that we're headed there. I think that he's had that moment of, all right. Maybe he does, in a way, regret the amount of time that he took away, because I think he did come back. He like, yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted to try UFC, that's fine, give it a shot. But I think maybe he has regrets about the time that he took away, because in AEW, like, yeah, his body did break down. It's like, I wasted a lot of prime years of my career. Like, I do still love this. I didn't love the circumstances that existed for me when I was doing it, but I still love professional wrestling. So people kept talking about like, oh, like now there's like so many dream matches that we can have. Like, I don't even think that it's like a dream match situation. Like, I want to see him versus Seth Rollins, which we're probably going to get at the Rumble. Obviously, at some point, like, it's a new opponent for Roman. And I would love to see his last match be against John Cena. Like, I would love to run that back.
That'd be
Like,
awesome. Yeah.
tie that loose end. Like, it's not even like, oh, like, we can have like a match against Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't need to see him against like LA Knight, which I think would be cool. Like, I thought about it.
Yeah,
Like,
it'd be a great match. But
yeah,
like, that's not one of the dream matches that come to
program.
mind.
It'd be
Yeah.
a good program because they're
Yeah.
both good on the mic. You can tell the Miz story with him. Like, you can make it real, like kind of like what's going on with Jey Uso right now, where it's like, oh, you've pissed off so many people and we didn't forget about it. Like, you can do that same thing with Punk and never run out of opponents.
How would you book him? Like, coming in, do you go face, heel, tweener? Like, I think in terms of wrestling, you use him very sparingly, almost Roman Reigns' schedule, because
I
of,
agree.
you know, his body. We don't know where it's at. And I don't mean
Yeah.
that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in a let's get as much as we can out of Punk way.
Yeah, because I think now is the question of, if we're headed for Seth and Punk at the Rumble, does Seth still have the title? Because
I think
because
so.
of
I think he'll have the title until Mania, to be honest. And I think that'll probably be the night one Mania main event. If I had to put my money on it now, I think it's Seth and Punk.
you're gonna have him lose his first match.
No. Maybe. Maybe that's the story you tell.
I don't know. I don't know if you can do that.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. But like, you want Punk to come in and just, yeah, I guess, like, best in the world. You want him to beat Seth right away. Maybe he goes into Mania as champ, but I think it's Punk and Seth. I just, from a business sense and point of view and the way that title has been booked, I would prefer it to be like Punk and Kevin Owens, who they have like a public history with their Ring of Honor pass and stuff. And I feel like their promos it'd be a better program leading up to it, maybe a better match too. But
Punk
I
Cena,
just feel like that's where they're going.
We've seen Punk Cena so many times, but like not like this. Not at like when they're both at the back end. Like it's like there's no in that program, no one gets hurt. No one really benefits. Like they're both Hall of Famers. They both multi-time champions. And it's like no one needs the rub, so you don't know what that outcome's going to be.
Let me ask you this. What if Punk's first match isn't like a one-on-one at the Rumble? What if he's in the Rumble? You couldn't get him thrown out in his first match, and that sets up a Mania match very easily. It's not the same as like you get someone he eliminates someone, they fucking run on in the ring behind him and like do a dirty move or something. Yeah. That I think would be more acceptable than getting him pinned in his first match. Also, let me throw this out there. Is there a chance they fucking say, let's strike while the iron is hot? Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk, night 1 WrestleMania?
That's the dream match. Like, that's the ultimate dream match.
And like Stone Cold put on a pretty fucking good match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania a couple years ago.
You can do concrete bumps.
Yeah, you can do a very similar match to that where you have he's drinking beers, he's doing ATV stunts, kind of a smoke and mirrors like street fight. Punk does very well in street fights. His SummerSlam street fight against Brock is one of my favorites ever. I think you could do that match, and it obviously could be a WrestleMania main event. Like that's worthy of night 2 if you wanted to do it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the ultimate dream match because we've been talking about that for over 10 years now. Like when they were promoting WWE 2K13 and doing the interview with Punk and Austin, and everyone thought we were going to get that match 10 years ago. And
they did their first face-off backstage in 2011, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because it was when Stone Cold had the shirt that Punk eventually wore for the pipe bomb.
But Punk was doing the
Nexus
thing
gear, I think.
to Austin. Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
What? Yeah.
Do you think it'd create a super villain origin story in real life if Punk got Reigns instead of Cody this year?
I don't. They're gonna split them up. I don't think I don't
different
know
brands. You think?
Well, I mean, on different nights of WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think Cody main events night 2 against Reigns, and Punk will main event night 1 against whoever you want him to be in there against. If he wants the main event against Otis, you let him main event against Otis.
Does he go over? I mean, like, this is the whole thing is, oh, man, you whined and cried for getting your WrestleMania main event, and now you're going to get it. Like, now he's built up, he had the stock before, which they kind of just fucked him his first run. Now he has the stock to be like, obviously, I'm going to be a WrestleMania main event. It's just a matter of against who.
You think he cares if he goes over? I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think I asked Daniel Bryan or someone asked Daniel Bryan what his like most satisfying, proudest moment was. And he said it was putting Kofi over in the WrestleMania main event. He's like, I think we told like an amazing story there. It was a great lead up. Like that was very much intentional. Everything we did. I think Punk would feel the same way about like even putting over like Kofi, like one of his friends or something.
Oh yeah. But who is that person that he could work a program with and put over and be like, I'm glad that guy went over.
Yeah. I don't know who Punk would want to elevate.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll also like rear its head in coming weeks. He's going to be on Raw on Monday, apparently. And in AEW, we didn't know who Punk's like clique would be. And he eventually found his little like Brody King, Danhausen, all the punk rockers.
Yeah.
He'll probably find his punk rockers. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Because Danhausen just made his return. Shout out Danhausen. That was great. After like another like year and a half of injury, he was off for a while.
Yeah, he said something like, "Thanks for making my return like memorable for like 6 days or whatever."
That's funny. Yeah. I love Danhausen calls him Pepsi Phil.
Yeah, Pepsi Phil.
And Punk bought Danhausen an Amazing Fantasy original appearance of Spider-Man, which is like a holy grail for comic book collectors.
Yeah, I did.
Like a solid guy to his friends.
Yeah, I mean, he bought Joey Mercury a fucking house.
Yeah, he did. Are they still cool or no?
I don't know. Like the line that Mercury had in the documentary was, I don't know if I'm his best friend, but he's my best friend.
Yeah, but that documentary was also like 10 years ago.
12, I think.
Yeah, even longer. Another random Punk dream match I wrote down that I want to see is Punk Gunther. I fucking love Gunther.
I'm trying to think of any like big men that Punk worked that was interesting. I mean, the Undertaker
Well, I
match
think
was great.
Brock, like the
Brock,
Undertaker match, Brock.
SummerSlam.
Yeah. As an underdog, Punk is like definitely a different fiery wrestler that I think is cool. And he works the fucking MMA leg kicks and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Wonder
He
who
has
the
to go
first
to,
feud will be against. Like it'll
it's
probably be
definitely gonna be
Seth.
Seth. It has to
No,
be.
it'll probably be Seth, but you want to get there at the Rumble. You got time. Like, are they gonna build this for the next 2 months just in promos? Or is he gonna have a match on Raw or on SmackDown at some point?
I think
And he'll
he's
do
gonna
a
come
little
back,
program.
cut a promo. I think he's gonna go away. I don't think we're gonna see that much of him leading up to the Rumble. Maybe,
We probably shouldn't.
yeah. I think they're gonna save him. Like, I don't think he's gonna be like, oh, it's Friday Night SmackDown and CM Punk versus fucking I don't what are those the Breezango knockoff guys?
Oh, yes. What is their thing?
I don't even know.
Man, it's bad. They're not bad. It's bad that I don't know it, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yes,
Like, they're not gonna
something.
just like have him do like
What are
throwaway
those fucking
matches.
guys? WWE Dancing Fools.
Dancing Fools.
Oh my God, that was actually the name of Disco Inferno and Alex Wright's tag team in WCW, the Dancing Fools.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Disco
I wasn't a
Inferno is an
WCW guy.
asshole, by the way. That's just a random thought I had.
You meet him?
No, just on Twitter. I read his
Oh.
takes sometimes. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking he likes to like tell people how to wrestle. It's like, bro, Disco Inferno. Shut up.
Yeah. What's his name in real life?
Disco Inferno?
Yeah.
I don't even
Is his
know.
handle Disco Inferno, or does he go by
Yeah,
whatever?
it's like the real disco. Glenn Gerbetti. I don't like
okay.
disco.
No.
Any other thoughts on the pay-per-view overall? I thought it was a good pay-per-view.
I know you texted me that. I was like, I mean, obviously, like Punk was in the back of my head the whole time. It was cool to see Randy. He looks fucking huge. He was taking full advantage of not getting tested that year and a half for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That RKO was awesome. Io Sky jumping off the cage in the trash can was one of the more hysterical visuals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Loved that. I thought both War Games matches delivered. I thought both of them were pretty good.
Yeah. I think Randy's in the best shape of his career right now because he's had times where he was big. He's had times where he was cut. He's both right now. He is that. This is the best Randy I think we've ever seen. And I think I'm glad that people are appreciating Randy for being one of the greatest of all time and still being able to enjoy him at the top of his game. Like, he's like 43 years old. Like, you look at some of the fucking people that came up there, like John Cena is fucking balding on the back of his head. Like, Dave Bautista has white hair now. Ric Flair looks like the Crypt Keeper.
Well,
like,
Batista is like 10 years older than Orton.
Batista's older than Triple H.
Batista's old.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about like dudes from his era.
Yeah.
He still looks like he's in his prime. Like, it's not like Randy Orton is not a nostalgia act. Randy Orton looks and acts the part of someone that's in the prime of their career. And yet he's been around since what, like 2002?
I think so. That's about right. Yeah. Did you notice Jey Uso give a oh shit when he like looked up and saw that they were about to do the RKO?
Yeah, I did.
Sitting on the mat and he was, oh shit. And I was like, oh, that's great. That was all of us realizing the spot they were about to do there.
Yeah.
Thought Rhea looked like a beast in her match.
Yeah, I like that hair.
Looked very cool. Yeah. I felt like she was inspired. Did I text you what I thought she was inspired by?
No.
She had makeup like just on one side of her mouth kind of going off. More like the singer of Black Veil Brides. You remember that band?
No, I don't.
They're like a 2000s metal band that a lot of people think are super cringy, but I know Rhea is like a legit fan of them. I actually like some of their music too. I think you probably would too. And the singer would always wear like just one side kind of stitches, I think. I don't know if anyone pointed that out, but I thought she was inspired by that. Tell you what, one match that I didn't really enjoy on the show, Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
I was stunned by, and I didn't think it was necessarily their fault. Yeah, I thought it was more of a whoever produced this match, not to like point blame on people. Dragon Lee is so much fun as a flippy lucha guy. Why not book him in a fucking 8-minute match where he gets to do all his flips and he gets the crowd going crazy? He does the flip over the top rope. This was like a 15-minute, it felt like a 15-minute match at least, where he took the heat 90% of it. He was just getting beat up the whole time. He did a couple flips and the crowd was like into it when he did do a flip, but like strange booking. Nobody comes to see Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee to do like a rest hold match. It was weird.
And it was like the protagonist was Rey Mysterio, who wasn't there.
Yeah, and Carlito.
Yeah, both of them
People
weren't
who
there.
The crowd, like, cares more about for sure.
Yeah, it's like the animosity was directed towards Rey Mysterio, who was not in the building.
Yeah,
so it just felt weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me ask you this before we get out of here as well. You're doing a Barstool podcast right now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. Is any part of you worried? Because I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that's like, Jared's going to get in trouble for not promoting merch for doing this, even though he doesn't work with us anymore.
I still get anxiety every Black Friday. I'm like, I feel like I got to be promoting merch. Like I just, I wake up.
You could buy this 20% off what I'm wearing because I have anxiety about it too. I know people are unfollowing me because I'm tweeting too much. That's okay. Like I'm just tweeting as much as I can, like a machine gun, tweeting it off. Machine gun Carl Anderson.
Yeah, you trade followers for not being on Dave's radar 100 times.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, I saw Gaz tweeted that people hadn't promoted, and I was like, guys, learn from my mistakes. I died for your sins. Just
you laid the blueprint on what not to do.
Yeah, all you got to do is throw in a few tweets, make a funny video, anything, and you'll stay out of the crosshairs. Do you know who it was that didn't promote?
I don't. And I actually, I'm not going to lie, snooped around a little bit trying to find out, and I still don't know. I assume we'll find out tomorrow, Cyber Monday. I assume Dave is going to be in the office. And that's usually when it's, I don't know if he'll be in the office, but we're doing like the telethon like we normally do. So
yeah,
you would think.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to put this out there for any old school fans of From the Top Rope. Jared mentioned it before. We lost some of the files. Like if you go to the page right now, I think there's like 4 episodes still up there. I believe they were probably taken down due to copyright. We used From the Top by Motley Crue as our theme, and then we would intro every wrestler with their theme. So we had at least 2 cases of copyright in every episode. If you still have the episodes downloaded, get in touch with me or Jared on Twitter. Jared will send you to me. We want to get some of those old interviews back. And I definitely have some hard drives, but I don't know if I have all of them. So reach out if you've got some episodes downloaded. I know some people definitely do, because I've gotten tweets over the years like I'm re-listening to some old episodes. So if you're able to do that, you're probably able to send them.
There's also websites that have them even if they were pulled elsewhere. Like if they were pulled from
like archived.
Yeah, because they obviously got rid of all the Section 10 episodes, and like they exist somewhere. There's some website where they still exist.
It would be nice to have back to repost old clips like Jared just mentioned about Seth, now that we're allowed to talk about Jared again.
Yeah, that's true. And we have 2 interviews with CM Punk. Well, you have 3, I think.
I think I have 3 at least, but we did an interview together. I think we did 2 interviews together, maybe.
We did one of them in studio, and then I think we did another one over Zoom to promote his movie.
The devil inside me.
I thought it was something on the 3rd floor, girl on the third floor.
Girl on the 3rd floor. Yeah, that's it. I was thinking House on the Left.
House on the
Isn't
Left.
That a horror movie?
That's they remade it. It's an original from like the 70s, maybe.
Yeah. There you go. So get in touch with us if you have those old episodes. Maybe we'll do some future content now that Punk is back. I know your fury towards wrestling is back.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Crown Jewel, but that's probably like the first PLE I haven't watched.
It's a pretty good show, to be honest.
In 10 years, I don't know. It was on at noon.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, and they kind of treat those like they're not canon in a weird way.
Yeah, like there was no like storyline development. Like there was no crazy matches or any crazy spots. So I just didn't have the desire to go back and watch it again. But yeah, I usually don't miss the PLEs. And we need to get our shit together so that we can get to the Rumble.
That's right. We're going to go to the Rumble. We're planning a boys trip every year where we're going to go to the Royal Rumble, wherever it is. Visit new spots.
This shirt.
You'll be wearing that shirt. CM Punk's going to be there. That's fucked up to think about.
I haven't seen him because every time that I've been to AEW, either with you or in Boston, he hasn't been on the card. I still haven't.
No, he was on the card. No, he was on the card when we went to AEW, but he didn't wrestle. He came out and cut a promo against the Islanders. Remember?
No,
he was like a heel. Yeah, when we went, it was MJF on Long Island.
I remember
MJF were feuding. Punk came out to MJF's music.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And he cut a total heel promo. He was a face at the time, and like crowds did not have any backlash towards him at the time. But he was a heel on Long Island because he was feuding with MJF. He played it very well.
That was what I was going to ask you. Do you think he's still going to get a strong reaction on the positive end of the spectrum when he's not in Chicago?
I don't know.
I think
my guts is no.
You don't think so?
I think he's going to get a Cena reaction. Not more boos than cheers, but I think you're going to get like a let's go Punk sucks type deal.
I'm not going to love that.
I think they might play into that. I don't know.
Based on all the reactions that I've seen from all the people that film themselves, people seem to be really excited.
Yeah.
In the first 4 hours, there was what, 27 million views on his return.
That being said, people get excited over returns. Look back at Royal Rumble 2008. John Cena gets one of the biggest pops ever, and then he gets booed as he wins the match. So it's like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to monitor. He'll apparently be on Raw. There's rumors that he's going to be a free agent that could go between brands. I think that would probably be for the best. I think that'd be smart. Just do a couple Punk matches a year at the big premium events to have him cut promos on the shows that you need him on. Yeah. So look out for it and look out for more from the Top Rope content. If you want more from the Top Rope content, you know how you could get it. Buy some Black Friday merch, 20% off.
Buy
Cyber Monday. Yeah. 20% what was the old Taboo Tuesday? All of it, 20% off. Buy yourself.
Store.barstoolsports.com. Check it out.
That's right. Thanks, Rocket.